Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. Okay, so what are we doing today? Today, we are going to be doing a video that I'm going to call my Stephen King Bookshelf of Shame. We will be doing a bookshelf selfie. Look at my Stephen King bookshelf. But first, let's go ahead and do a little bookkeeping on where we stand in my reading so far this month of March, first week in March. All right, so first off, in keeping with my Stephen King bookshelf of shame, Gwendy's Button Box. So I just finished this. I just started reading it, Tuesday. It's a very thin, short book. Even the printing is very, spaced out. So it didn't take very long at all, like 164 pages. I finished it in 4 days. So I finished Gwendy's Button Box, and I have started Gwendy's Magic Feather. So this is the second book in the trilogy. This one is just written by Richard Chizmar, whereas, of course, the first book was Stephen King and Richard Chizmar. So I've just started this, not too far in. What I'm going to do is, since I'm going to read all 3 books, the whole trilogy this month, I'm going to wait until the end when I'm done with all 3 before I give my review, my thoughts of the books. But so far, so good with that. Also, I finished The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger Born. Now, this is the first collection of 7 comic books in the first series that Marvel put out for The Dark Tower. Now, there's actually 3 series, and then I think there's a couple other, one-offs, one-shots they call them. So I finished the first one. Again, I'll wait till the end because I believe there's 5 of them plus a one-shot, and I want to get them all done before I do a review on the whole first series. But geez, it's been a while since I've read The Dark Tower, and this brings back so many great memories. It's really good. So I finished that one and started the second book in the series, and this one is The Long Road Home. You can see the cover there. The back cover is pretty cool. So I've started this one. This one I think only has 5 comic books in the book. So it won't take me long to get to that, and then we'll get on to the other ones. So that's what I've been doing for reading. Also, I am listening to the second book in the series by John Gwynne. So I listened to Malice, and now I'm listening to Valor. So far, I'm almost done with it. Actually, I only have like an hour left to listen to it. So I'm probably going to finish it today. But I'll wait until I get that completely finished before I do my review of that. And so, without further ado, let's start my Stephen King bookshelf of shame. Let's go out to my living room to where my bookshelf is, and we'll take a look at my bookshelf. All right, come on with me. Okay, here we are at my Stephen King bookshelf of shame. Let's start up here at the top. All right, up here, I've got some books on display. We, of course, have Stephen King, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, and that's a pop-up book. If anybody would like me to do a video going through this book and showing the pop-ups, that would be cool. Just let me know down in the comments. Of course, we have Creepshow on display, and Charlie the Choo Choo. Next, we'll go down to the top shelf. All right, so what I tried to do here is I try to put these books in chronological order of when he wrote them. Unless they're in a series, then I put the series together whenever possible. So you can see I start out here with Carrie, and then Salem's Lot, and in publishing order, one of the stories here in the Bachman books 4 early novels. And we go on through The Dead Zone, unfortunately, is a book club edition, but that's a very old book that I have. And then Danse Macabre, I do not have the cover for. I don't know where that went to. Then we go on to The Gunslinger. Now, The Gunslinger, of course, came out, and then years and years, as he went on, he finished the series. But what I'm trying to do here is I recently got this in a hardback. I'm trying to convert them all over to hardback. I do have all the trade papers like 2 times over on other shelves. And we're going to stay with the Dark Tower theme. I've got the first series of the Marvel, and then one into the second series here. This, of course, is the one I'm reading right now, The Long Road Home. We've got Christine in there. Let's go down to the next shelf. And the next shelf we have, we've got Pet Sematary hiding back here. Then we have the Talisman. So since Black House is the second book in that duology, I put Black House there. We have Thinner. It, of course, my favorite book of all time. I've got this in here, Nightmares in the Sky. And what I'd like to do is probably put this one up top sometime if I have some more room. But that's in publication order. Let's set this down. I can't do it with one hand. Go on over into Insomnia. Unfortunately, I bought this at a library sale, Gerald's Game, and it's got a tear in it where they had a sticker. Let's go down here. You have Rose Madder hiding over there. I actually like Rose Madder. I know a lot of people don't. These, of course, are firsts of how they originally came out in serialized form. The Green Mile, of course. I'm pretty lucky. I think I went through these books, and only about, I think 10 of them are not firsts. Recently picked up Faithful here. Stephen King's a huge, of course, Boston Red Sox fan. Go on over here. Now I've got this. This is the July 2007 Esquire magazine. Why do I have the Esquire magazine with Angelina Jolie on it? Well, let's set this down over here. I've got it marked, if I can get to it. This is the original appearance of the Gingerbread Girl. Was in the Esquire magazine in 2007. Now, of course, it was later also published in Just After Sunset. But I was able to get that Esquire magazine, and that was pretty cool, I thought. Anyways, let's get down here under the dome. Oh, I just recently picked this up. This is pretty cool. This is American Vampires. Scott Snyder, Raphael Albuquerque, and Stephen King. The cool thing about this is I bought this on eBay just recently. Opened it up, and look at that. It says, "To Deidre, hope you like it." And that's actually signed by Raphael Albuquerque, the artist. That's pretty cool to buy something on eBay and find out that you have a signed copy. That was pretty cool. Let's see if that'll go back up here. All right. And you see I put all of the Mr. Mercedes trilogy together, even though actually Revival would go in there. Joyland, I have in hardback. This is an illustrated edition. That's really cool. Going down here, of course, I just finished Gwendy's Button Box, and I'm currently reading Gwendy's Magic Feather. I have Stephen King's Sleeping Beauty with Owen King. This is the only book that I have out of all my books, and living in Maine for years. You can see that? That's the only one that I have signed by Stephen King. That's signed by Stephen, and of course signed by his son Owen. I got to see them down in St. Petersburg on their tour for this book. I got very lucky. I got in a lottery, and somehow I won the lottery. Me and my girlfriend both got tickets. They only gave out so many tickets, and we both were able to snag one and go down to St. Pete and see him. That was pretty cool, I thought. We also have the IDW. This is the Sleeping Beauty in comic book form. This is just book 1. So about, I think, 6 of the individual comics are collected in that. I do have Flight or Fright up here because, of course, Stephen King edited it. And he also has a story in there. We'll go down to the bottom shelf, and I have, of course, Institute, which I finished recently last month. If It Bleeds, later, I thought was pretty good, and Billy Summers. I also have the Bare Bones, that's conversation interviews with Stephen King, and I have The Trap by Tabitha King. And then a whole bunch of Dean Koontz books. I put them down there basically because Stephen King has said in an interview that Dean Koontz is actually one of his favorite authors. I am starting a Joe Hill bookshelf because pretty soon this one's going to be totally full with Stephen King books. All right, that's my Stephen King bookshelf of shame. Let's go back, sit down, and discuss why it's called my bookshelf of shame. Thank you. All right, everyone, I'm back. So I hope you enjoyed looking at my Stephen King bookshelf of shame. Now, why am I calling it my bookshelf of shame? Well, as you can see, I don't own all of his books. So I'm calling myself a constant reader. So I'm a little bit ashamed because I don't own all of his books, and I haven't read all the ones even that I have. But a weird thing, let me explain what I don't have on that bookshelf, what you didn't see on that bookshelf. You didn't see Cujo. You didn't see Cycle of the Werewolf, hard to say for me. You didn't see Firestarter. You didn't see The Shining. You didn't see Different Seasons. You didn't see The Colorado Kid. You didn't see this one, The Secretary of Dreams, Volume 1, Volume 2. They are graphic novels, and I've tried to get them in my collection, and I'll be honest, they're like $3 million. I mean, of course they're not $3 million. They're very expensive if you can find these 2 volumes, graphic novels. I don't have them, and I don't know when I'll be able to get them because they are so expensive. But also, I don't have The Sorcerer yet. I have it on order because it is part of this first series for The Dark Tower. It's a one-shot. I do have that on order, and it is coming. Now, as for Cujo, I do have on order. I just found that a first. I try to get first if at all possible. So I had that coming. So Cujo, Cycle the Werewolf, Firestarter, The Shining, Different Seasons, all of those I've owned in the past. I've read, and I don't know where they are. I must have loaned them out or lost them along the way. Who knows? It kind of drives me crazy that I don't own them. But I have in the past, and I have read them. So I have to get those. Colorado Kid, I actually have, but I have loaned out just recently to my beautiful girlfriend's daughter, wonderful daughter, and she still has it. She's reading that. And then I do have the ebook Guns on my cell phone, and I do have on audio, which it comes on audio. I have that on my phone as well. So I have those. There's 9 books that I don't have. 6 of them I've already read. So, and I'm counting The Secretary of Dreams Volume 1 and 2 as 2, of course. So, but I am going to get all of them hopefully this year, because I have to have, I'm a completionist. I have to have them all. But that's why I'm ashamed that I don't have all those. Also, my biggest shame is I consider myself a constant reader, especially of Stephen King. I love, he's my #1 favorite author. But I haven't read all of his books, far from it. So what I'm going to do is next, I'm going to show you all the books in my collection that I have not read. And I'm going to start in backwards order, backwards chronologically, with the most recent ones to the oldest ones that I haven't read. So the first one, let's get started. No, I have not read this yet. Stephen King's Billy Summers. No, I haven't read it yet. I haven't gotten to it. I'm a little behind, but I have read later, so and I just read The Institute last month. So I'm starting to, fix this problem that I have. Billy Summers, I have not read. We're going to make stacks. Sorry. Next, I have not read Flight or Fright. Of course, it is edited by Stephen King and Bev Vincent, and he has contributed a short story in this book. I have not read any of it yet, so that's another one. Next, we keep going. Of course, I'm reading the trilogy right now, the Gwendy's trilogy. So this will be the next book after I read The Feathers. And this one just came out recently, and this one is by Stephen King and Richard Chizmar. And I'm very excited to read this trilogy, finally. That's on the list. That will be done this month. Next, all right, don't slam me. Don't tell me I'm an idiot. I have seen the movie, but I have not read this yet. That is Stephen King, 11/22/63. A lot of people have this on their #1 Stephen King book of all time. I have watched the movie. I actually like the movie a lot, but I have not read this yet. So I'm going to make a promise that I will read this book this year. Just cross your fingers. All right, I made a promise. That's a big one. Next, I haven't read this yet. Full Dark, No Stars. Not at all. I don't even know. I know it's a short story compilation. It says 1922, Big Driver, Fair Extension, A Good Marriage, and Afterward. In here, I have not read any of it. So, Full Dark, No Stars. Next. This is the one I showed in my video. American Vampires. It's Scott Snyder, Raphael Albuquerque, and Stephen King. This I have not read at all. As I showed you before, I got it and it was autographed by the artist, Raphael Albuquerque. That was pretty cool. The artwork looks pretty cool. I haven't read it yet. We'll see where that goes. There's actually a whole series of these, and what they did was they got different, well, Scott Snyder got different authors and different artists, and he's got a series of these. I don't know how many there are. Maybe somebody can tell me. 6, 7 of these? I don't know. But this is the first one, and it is by Stephen King. I haven't read that yet. All right, moving on to pile number 2. Again, I just haven't read this. Just After Sunset. Another short story compilation. It does have some cool stories in it that I'm interested in reading. It does have the Gingerbread Girl in it. I showed you I have that Esquire magazine where it was originally published, and I've never read that short story. So this got a couple of them in there. It does have N in here. I have read N. I do not have the graphic novel of N. That's another one I don't have. I do have some things. Like I said, I have audio on my phone, and I do have the ebook for Guns on my phone, but I do not have the comic version of N. But there's a bunch in here. I've got to read that. I love his short stories. His short stories are great. I don't know how anybody could not enjoy his short stories just as much as any of the other novels. Sometimes when people ask me where should I start, sometimes I'll tell them start with Stephen King and read some of his short stories, because they're really good. And then you won't get, daunted by reading a huge book like Insomnia or, The Stand Uncut or something like that. Of course you want to read those, but, start off small. Start off with some short stories. Next, a Richard Bachman book, of course, Blaze. I have not read it. Don't really know anything about it. Of course, because I try to be a constant reader. I bought it. Never even opened it up. Never even researched it. I have no idea what it's about. So Blaze, it's a Richard Bachman book. Next, this is cool. So this is one of the reasons why I wore my Chicago Cubs World Series hat here. So this is Faithful. Of course, it's by Stephen King and Stuart Onan. Stephen King is a huge Boston Red Sox fan, has been for life. I will say the Boston Red Sox are my second favorite team, but my first favorite team is the Chicago Cubs. So these guys, they were years and years, I don't even know how many years without a World Series. Here comes this brilliant young wonderkin, Theo Epstein, put together an amazing team, and finally the Boston Red Sox won the World Series. It was wonderful. And then Theo Epstein went to the Chicago Cubs and did the same thing for the Cubs, which hadn't won a World Series in like 126 years. I was getting to the point where I didn't think I'd ever see the Chicago Cubs win a World Series in my lifetime. I'm so happy. Thank you, Theo Epstein. So that's Faithful. Keep on going, Tad. Stephen King's From a Buick 8. Again, why haven't I read this book? I don't know. Maybe because, I don't know, I look at it and I go, oh, okay, another Christine. But I don't know anything about it. Haven't read it. But I have it. Got to get done. From a Buick 8. Next, this book, oh my goodness. So this book has so many fans, I don't know, just not liking it, bashing it, hating it. Even the movie was horrible, blah, blah, blah. I didn't dislike the movie, actually. There's a lot of Stephen King movies that I do not like. I didn't dislike this one. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought that was the whole purpose. That's Dreamcatcher. So I haven't read it. What am I going to do, though? I am, like I said, Valor. I only have an hour left in Valor. I'm going to finish that today, and I'm going to start listening to Dreamcatcher. I don't know. I'll let you know. I don't know if it's going to be... I haven't read it yet, so far it's not on my list of bottom, Stephen King novels, because I haven't read it. So, but I will be doing a list of that shortly. So we'll see where Dreamcatcher ends up on that. But I'm going to listen to that next. And then we have Hearts in Atlantis. These books were, you know, similar in time. A lot of them I don't know if it was a time period in my life when I was busy with work or my son or something like that. But there were a couple books around this time period that I just didn't read, but I have started reading them. For instance, I did just read Bag of Bones. I read Elise's story. I read Duma Key. I mean, we're talking like within last year. I have not read Hearts in Atlantis yet, so I have to do that. We're still going. Don't quit on me yet. The Dark Half. Never read it. Why? Don't know. I don't know. For some reason, whenever I look at The Dark Half, I think, I don't know why, I think Dead Zone. What can I say? I'm lost for words here. I haven't read it. I'll read it. Look at this stack. It's building up. I showed you this one. This is just a coffee table book. This is Nightmares in the Sky. Of course, Stephen King writes the text at the beginning of the book, and then the remainder of the book are these really cool pictures by F. Stop Fitzgerald. But, I mean, it's gargoyles. It's pictures that are really freaking cool. I love these things on buildings. Why? You know, just a little dragon up here, just hanging out on a building. And what else they have here? Look at this guy. Here's looks like a green man or something. Of course, I have the Green Man on my sleeve. Just pretty, really cool. Ooh, look at this guy. Look at that guy. Hope you can see him. The lighting's not great in here today. I'm trying to use the sun, but not doing great. So that's a nice coffee top table that it won't take long. It's just it doesn't have that much text in it that he wrote, but I'll read that pretty soon. All right, so now we're down to the remainder of these Marvel Dark Tower series. This is, again, the first series. I'm reading The Long Road Home. The next one will be Treachery. That's pretty cool. And then after that will be The Fall of Gilead. That's pretty cool. Then The Sorcerer, which is just a one-shot I have on order. I don't have right here to show you, but it's coming. I'll read that one. And then, of course, the last one in the first series is Battle of Jericho Hill. That's pretty cool. Here's the back of it. All right, so we'll be reading that this month. These will all be done this month. And then this is one of the books in the second series. And the second series is called The Dark Tower Gunslinger. And this one is The Man in Black. And I don't have, this is the only one I have in the second series. There is a third series. And of course, a couple of one-shots. So almost done. I've got 2 more books left. This one, I'm kind of embarrassed that I haven't read, actually. Well, these last 2, I'm pretty embarrassed that I haven't read. Danse Macabre, I haven't read. I'm a bit of a historian. You know, I've read some historical books on it. And I love these where he explains, you know, where he's got his information, talks about modern horror movies, and he's got an autobiography part in here. And I just haven't read it. I kind of upsets me. I don't have the jacket for it, but I mean, it still looks nice on the bookshelf. I've had it for a long time, but it's pretty cool. I need to read it, really, but that's another one on the list. And then last but not least, again, don't beat me up, I have not read this book. I did not watch I think it was a TV series. I don't know why. Why haven't I read this book? I don't know. And that's The Dead Zone. Now this version is, it's only a book club edition. I would like to get another version, a first that isn't the book club edition. Pretty much all of my books are first, and they're not book club editions. Although if you notice, like all the Richard Bachman books are book club edition size. I wonder why that is. But that's the last one, The Dead Zone. I haven't read it. I've had this book forever. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I don't know these things. I don't understand. Look at that. It's huge 2 stacks of books that I have not read, and I call myself a constant reader, and Stephen King my favorite author of all time. So this has to be done. I am not going to promise that I'm going to get all of this read this year. I'm not. He's also coming out with new books, all the time. He's got fairy tales coming out. So, and I'm definitely going to want to read that, that. So anyways, this is I don't know. I'm just trying to say, I know I claim myself as being a constant reader and a huge fan, but I'm a little bit shameful that I have not read all of these books, and I don't own all of his books yet. But I will someday. All right, guys. Thank you for staying with me and listening to me ramble about these Stephen King books. If you find that you have any interest in anything of these and want to talk about them, please leave some comments below. I love seeing comments. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you choose to do so. I would really appreciate it. All right. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.